call this meeting to order. Next, I'll be establishing a quorum. I have Commissioner Garcia. I have Commissioner Dr. Howell. I have Commissioner Dr. Saldana, Commissioner Martinez. But we do have a quorum. Now for the invocation, Commissioner Saldana, Dr. Saldana, if you wouldn't mind, sir. Oh, all right.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for all of the blessings that you bring upon our fair city. We ask that you be with us today, that you may guide us and impart your wisdom upon us, that we make good decisions for our community. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Commissioner Howell, if you wouldn't mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen. Anybody for open forum, Fred?
Right.
Moving on to presentations. Got nothing for presentations today. I have 7A and B consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by
I'll second.
Commissioner Garcia, second by Dr. Saldana. Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The budget amendment, where's money?
We're just moving monies from the planning department.
This has had to do with travel with the previous ACM?
Yes, he had stashed extra money in the travel section for planning department. They don't need it.
Okay, so this puts it all back in the general fund?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to 8. Presentation, discuss, consider possible take action regarding approval of request by Hidalgo County Election Department for the use of polling locations during early voting election day for 2025 May election.
Mayor Commissioner, we got city secretary working on the calendar and the county utilizing our space at the HEB Park.
Hello, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is just a request from the elections department to use our civic center for elections for the whole year. Only elections would be our May election and a November election.
Along with runoffs,
Yeah, with
if,
runoffs.
if
If
needed.
any. Mhm.
You have a motion to approve?
I move approve this request by the Hidalgo County Elections Department for use
second.
of the Civic Center as a polling location.
I have a motion by Dr. Saldana, second by Dr. Howell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item B, presentation of previously approved Section 125 Cafeteria Plan Health and Wellness Program.
So Mayor, Commissioner, this had come to you previously. You okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
And it had been approved by the city. After further review, we found that a lot of what's in this cafeteria plan is already included in the current plan that we have with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Ma'am, would you like to add to that?
Is this this one that took us forever to understand that
Yes.
you got to spend money to make money, and
Yes,
it seemed
correct.
it took a while to.
Yes.
Okay,
And the
well-
majority of the components are already covered in Blue Cross Blue Shield at no additional cost, by the way.
Okay, I wondered about that. Okay. So, do you require a motion to
Motion to undo.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move that we rescind or discontinue that
Plan.
cafeteria health plan, the Section 125 cafeteria plan for health and wellness program.
I'll second.
I
You
think
can
the
move
attorney-
to reject.
Yeah, I think
To
so.
what?
Yeah, the way you're saying
Move
it,
to reject.
we'd have to get people to undo their own. And that if
All
we
right,
just
well, then I
reject it-
move to reject the Section 125 cafeteria plan health and wellness program.
All right, a
I'll
motion
second.
by Dr. Saldana. I have a second by Commissioner Garcia. Any more discussion?
Just for clarification purposes and transparency, city managers, anyway, you can just explain real briefly, just so there won't be any rumors or saying, oh, we got rid of the insurance for employees or something. So everything is in place still. This is just, can you explain this
We're
part?
not modifying any of the health coverage. We still cover the employee 100%. They can add family members. The plan is not being modified, or there's no additional cost to the employees other than what had been previously exercised before in previous years. We're just saying this particular plan was an additional component that is already covered in the majority by Blue Cross Blue Shield and no additional action required or costs associated with it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item C, approval of appointment of members to the Keep Mercedes Beautiful Committee.
Is there anybody here to? Mr. Mayor, I move to.
How many openings
hang
do
on,
we
hang on.
have? at
Go ahead,
this-
Ferdinand, you got some?
Okay. All right.
Okay,
That's what we're
perfect.
looking for.
How many openings do we have at this particular moment?
We were down to 4 members, so I believe from it being up to 11, so we would be short what is that, 7?
7.
Yes, sir.
So there's 4 on the list, correct?
Yeah, so we're not filling them all as of right now, but I know that currently we only have 4 active members.
But the request is for all 4 of those names that were
for the
submitted
new,
to
for
be.
the new members that were submitted,
Okay.
yes. And they should have already been contacted by the secretary for KMB,
So those
just to make sure
names,
that they are on board.
excuse me, so those names are additional, or they're the ones that are
No, they're
currently
additional
active?
to the
Additional.
four. They're
Perfect,
additional.
perfect, okay.
So
Any of
there
them
was
here?
5 applicants in the packet.
That I'm not 100%
Yeah,
sure.
there's
So there was 5.
5 new members.
5 new members.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I only saw 4.
And you're recommending
Yes, sir.
to approve?
I make a motion to approve
How
the
about-
five members that were 5 applications that submitted for Keep Mercedes Beautiful.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Garcia, second by Dr. Saldana. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to, I'm sorry, 8D, approval to begin the planning of the formation of Parks and Recreations Board.
Mayor, my
Back up again.
my colleague, Mr. Commissioner Martinez, I know he's ill, and he had a few comments as well, but I guess we'll go ahead.
Yes, sir. So this item was put on the agenda because it was requested by Commissioner Martinez. So I know he was requesting that we, bring it to commission about possibly getting that board active again. From my understanding, there was already a Parks Advisory Board. So I don't know if we really need to take action on that since that's already,
Well,
No,
been-
I think go ahead. No.
It's one of the first things that when we jumped on board several years ago was we look at committees, and there was past members that had passed away. We needed to update some of these policies, procedures, and committees. And the parks is an older committee. Some of those members either are not in existence, active, or unfortunately have passed on as well. So obviously the parks and recreation department in general is a huge investment to our community, to our future, to our kids. And so for us to have some stakeholders, voices involved, and some involvement and some participation is critical. It's a critical component of the success. So I feel like, just like any board, this board, we need to be active, and we need to start getting the wheels going to get this board involved and active again.
Yeah, I agree. I have something, but if anybody else, you got some, anybody?
I think it's never a bad idea to have people from the community providing guidance to the way that the parks are used and the recreation programs that are developed and that kind of thing. So their perspectives are going to be a lot closer to the action than ours are, and they're people that you can work with. So when you start getting serious about parks and recreation, you almost need to have some kind of community-based input advisory board. So I think it's a great idea, and I think the time's right to get serious about that again.
So my 2 cents worth on that is I sat on the board. Matter of fact, up until I was mayor, my name was still on there. I don't know
I
why.
think you're
It's
still
been
on
like
there.
20 years ago. Yeah. So I had also requested to talk about this, but not so much about, we need to fill that board at the end of the day. I'm more concerned with how we're going to make selections. It can't be all Taifa or all Little League or all Pony League or all, and so we need to have you got guys that want to, or people that want to bring whatever, golf frisbee, and you got people that like to skate. So I want to make sure that everybody is involved in this. And I think another part of that is that we need to make sure that who's sitting on that board, that they can cross communicate and understand each other. And as I was talking to some of the people that were calling me about the park situation, they didn't even realize that we had, how many parks is it, 9 or 11? It's 7 now. So we have 7 different parks, and they're not all baseball fields, and they're not all football fields. And then some of the people don't know that they could use some of the areas with grass to practice. And so I think the more people are involved in the board across the different disciplines, I guess you can call it, the better the city will be. And then everybody will have an understanding of why, because some of the complaints we get is like, hey, but I need the field. Well, okay, well, how long? Well, I need it all year because we play football year round or whatever. And the reason I thought of that is I was in San Antonio this weekend, and we were going to see my grandson play basketball, and there was an entire field full of kids practicing full contact football. It's I mean, we're February, right? So obviously that's a year-round league of some sort, and probably why they beat everybody from South Texas too, because they're pretty good. And but anyway, so I think the more of that's and so we need to put some thought into some guidelines. I don't think we have to vote to put the board together. I think we just need to instruct y'all to do it. But I think what we do need to do, and maybe when right before we started, is to put some guidelines of what we'd like to see there. Maybe somebody of every organized volunteer league to be a part of it.
I know what other municipalities do also is some of the advisory board members are either selected by the commission. Each commissioner will, appoint somebody to those boards, or.
Yeah, well, that's how we did it. That's how we did it last time. But it was I don't know. Oh, hey, I don't know. I didn't know you were here. So I don't know if any of the guys here from the baseball thing was, but I mean, they put an advisory board committee, and I'll tell this to the guys that put me on there. He's still my friend, but at the end of the day, we were there because they wanted us to name the field, and they didn't want to be the bad guy that told everybody else that it wasn't going to get named after somebody's dad. So that was it. Once we named the fields, we hardly ever met again. So there was no buy-in on that. So I don't, at the end of the day, there are going to be political appointments by us because we're a political body, but I think there needs to be some real thought process put in there, have them put in some applications, and maybe we can do something that says, you know what, we need, if there's 2 baseball leagues, then somebody from each baseball league needs to be, if at the very least, an ad hoc. Same thing if you have somebody from soccer, you have somebody from, football, flag football, Taifa, whatever. I think we need to go that road, or we'll be back to the same little thing. And then the other thing I think is there needs to be some meat behind the recreation. I know you probably won't like it. I know Albert didn't. He jumped down my throat when I told him my idea, but they have to have some skin in the game.
Responsibility.
Yeah, they have to have some responsibility. They're not just going to be there so they can bicker and fight. There needs to be some responsibility. Okay, you guys are going to vote. Here we go. We got $10,000 to fix fields. Which one do you want to fix? Just remember, you're affecting somebody else. It needs to be for real. And that's the guidance that I would like to see for it. So I don't know if you can look around, see if you can find a template that kind of fits
guidelines.
that.
And he'll bring it to us, of course.
Yeah,
and
oh,
just-
yeah, absolutely.
Listen,
No.
I just like Mary was saying, I think.
Mine's just one opinion. I'm not saying it has to be that way. I'm asking him to bring that so that you all can all see it.
Inclusion and diversity is good. Having some representation from different genres would help as well, and that way everybody has a voice in this community to be involved for the kids. But yeah, I think just like Mary said, just bring some policies, some rules, some guidelines, so they can bring us forth to the board, to the commission, so we can kind of start getting this. But I think the approval would be to just go ahead and get the wheels going,
Yeah,
get started.
I don't think we need to
You don't need
approve
to?
this. There's already a parks board. I think at the end of the day, what we need to do is more instruction wise is go onto the website and remove everybody from there. If we need to make a motion or some kind of action to remove everybody that was existing and start from scratch, something to that effect. We couldn't
Marty?
do that off of what's here right now, right, Marty? We'd have to reword it.
Yes, and if we could get a copy, or if I could get a copy of the bylaws, I'd like to review those so that if we need to make amendments, we can do them all on the same agenda.
So
So
I
we'll
think
bring
that
it
would
back
be,
to
is
you.
everybody, I think that would be the best bet.
So
So
I'll do some research and bring that stuff back to you for the next meeting.
go ahead.
One other thought to build on what you said, because I thought those were really good points that you made, is the best Parks Board members, I think, are going to be people we're going to have to recruit. They're not going to be people that come forward and want to do it.
Yeah.
Not to say that people that volunteer are not viable potential board members, but you're going to have to really think about that. And my suggestion would be to get a little group of people together, maybe some current users, one or two of us, so you don't break the law, and whoever else, and just sit around the table and say, okay, guys, let's have a little brainstorming session, and let's be very thoughtful about, who we pick, so that we don't leave any blind spots or gaps in the, so, you get as much of a broad representation as possible, because you're going to find out in a hurry who you left out the first time they start spending money and making decisions.
And then one last one for me is there should be written in there, and I was fighting for that back then, was a component of fundraising. Because I know everybody, I get this, everybody has a novel idea. Hey, man, we used to put signs out there and they would give us $1,000. Well, the thing is that it's the same businesses. Everybody does it now. So those same businesses are getting hit all the time. So I think what we need to do is put a legitimate group together that can actually go out for fundraising and get corporate sponsors, that kind of stuff. So I don't know if there has to be a component, because I think we either have to vote on it at the beginning, or every single donation has to go through the city, something like that. So I think if we take care of it on the forefront, it would be a whole lot better. And just so if we can add that component to where we can do fundraising, corporate type fundraising for the actual parks, that would go a long way as well. Anybody else? All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And by the way, doing a good job. Thank you. I have seen some of the changes.
Oh, appreciate
I know they're digging up those
Sprinkler heads.
the sprinkler heads. That's a big
I
deal.
knew they
have
were
kids-
down there somewhere.
We found some of them. We found some of them.
Yeah, it was sad that you had to dig 2 feet to find them.
Yeah,
How
so
long
I'll
we've
submit
been
some,
not doing anything with them.
We'll be submitting some pictures for you.
All right.
Good.
And okay, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. So okay, number 8D, we didn't take any action, but we did give some instructions, and hopefully we can do that by the next meeting.
You want
A little slow here. All right, moving on to 9A, approval of first reading of ordinance 2025-06, amending the zoning code to R1 Single Family Residential District.
Mayor, I would like to have a joint approval of 9A and B and bypass the first reading.
I have a motion for item 9A and 9B
I'll second.
by Commissioner Howell, Dr. Howell. I have a second by Commissioner Garcia. Any more discussions?
a question?
Go ahead.
We don't have anybody that can answer it. I want, what is, my understanding of this is that we've got, our existing ordinance is creating confusion, I guess, for developers. It's complicated unnecessarily. And so I was just curious if someone with planning could help to explain what problems we're solving by doing this. I don't have an issue with this. It seems like it's a way of cleaning up our ordinances so that we don't frustrate people that are trying to build things. But I don't know if anybody can really talk about it here.
I mean,
or
this
not.
is just a way of eliminating some red tape as well and continue the development.
Well, I was curious
got-
if there was an
We
example.
got the catch-all office here.
Yeah, okay, well,
Secretary.
you've been promoted to planning director, Jocelyn.
From my understanding, we have like single family residential districts, but there's like a class A, A1, AB, A2, and
And they
There's
all have
different-
different setbacks and they all
Right.
different,
So this ordinance is gonna have like the 10-foot setbacks.
Right.
Or 10 feet, 5 and 5
5 and
all the way
5.
around.
right?
And also changing those classifications from those single A1, A2 to just R1
And R2.
R2.
So this is actually to simplify some of the issues.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I know that just to give some example, I know there's people here, like for instance, what holds true as to a setback on the bigger areas on the south side, on the north side, some of those lots are really, really small. So when they try to follow the rules of the south side, bigger lots, those lots are much older over there. And they can't do anything. They can't put a walkway. They can't put a carport for their house. And so this is just a way to make sure everybody has a fair shot, right?
So
Pretty much.
if
Do
you,
some improvements as well.
if
Yes.
I may, the current ordinance allows an individual to have a setback on one side for 3 feet, while they have 5 feet on the other.
The other side.
So this is standardizing it all around so that you don't have somebody too close to you as a neighbor with only 3 feet gap between you and the fence.
They'll be able to hear their chickens.
Yes, sir.
Chickens is another
Yeah,
one.
chickens is the one we need to bring up also. All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
you,
Motion
Jocelyn.
carries. Thanks, Jocelyn, for being on the
That's right,
spot.
Johnny on the spot.
Bids and contracts, approval of the facility usage agreement for Collier Park baseball fields. Yeah, I need a new pair of shoes there, bud.
Just for the record, Mayor, I'm Armando Viela, the Parks Director for the City of Mercedes. So we are wanting to get approval on the facility usage agreement. I did make some recommended changes to the agreement. Y'all should have a copy of the way the agreement stands with the changes, and the changes are highlighted in yellow. So there weren't really any major changes, more so just some wording on enforcing some of the stuff that was already in the existing contract. One of the things I am recommending is that we do require the leagues to carry a 501c3 not-for-profit. One of the other things that I was recommending was that the leagues, since the city takes on all the maintenance, we do, we're gonna be doing the striping, the mowing, irrigation, we pay the utilities and stuff. So I'm recommending that the city collects $5 per every registered kid for that league, for the usage of the fields at Collier Park. Other than that, those are just the two major changes. I did speak with the two organizations that are interested in operating out of Collier Park. There didn't seem to be a whole lot of pushback on those things. I think one of the major points for them was the 501c3, because they're not ready with an active 501c3. So if you all see fit, right, I would recommend that we do approve somebody, but with that contingency that they would go out and acquire their 501c3.
And just to be very clear, because I know I had multiple discussions, and I would say that 99% of the people I spoke to understood this part, but that 1% is the 501c3 makes it easy for us as a city to lend out our property. Now, what somebody brought up to my attention, well, we've done it before for fundraisers. So it's a little different when you have somebody that comes forward and they come and show proof that somebody in their family, suffered some catastrophic deal and they want to do a fundraiser, than something to become a normal use. Then it's bad on the city to just lend stuff out for free, because it's not ours. It belongs to the citizens of Mercedes. So we have to be very cognizant of that. It's not that we want to or don't want to. It's just that it'll become a bigger issue in the future if everybody just wants to use everything, if we don't put some kind of rules in place. And the 501c3 comes with all kinds of protections. We don't have to dig into your finances. We don't have to get involved in, what your fundraising is, because the state does that for us. And that can be requested at any time. There's a reason for the 501c3. That's if there's somebody who don't. I know most of the people here understand it, but if there's some people out there that don't, that's the whole reason behind a 501c3 is that there's some oversight. And we don't get involved in something where, hey, somebody was embezzling and all this other stuff. It's on the state and it's on the organization and not on the city. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But
I had a question. So on this agreement, like we had previously had had discussed from last meeting, is there gonna be a charge for the fields? There wasn't gonna be a charge for our local kids,
So-
local leagues.
So what, like I mentioned, during the season, the league is gonna be in charge of operating the field. So we won't rent the fields. We're not gonna rent the fields to the teams that are part of the league to practice. In the existing contract that Mercedes already had in place, it states in the contract that the teams during the season, the fields are actually not for practice, so that they shouldn't be practicing. Again, that's something that we would work out with the organization, right? Because you do want to give the fields time to rest. You want to give us time to do maintenance. So if you're playing during the week and you're practicing, I'm assuming they're going to have quite a bit of teams. It's going to be pretty tough to schedule all the teams, give them all equal amount of practice time throughout the week on just those two fields, right? So I think that's why it's in the contract that they're not for practice. They're just for games. So the teams would have to look for open space, or, you know, if the whatever league is operating out there, they would be the ones to
Well, I think,
schedule the practices.
I think as part of your job as a Parks and Rec director would be maybe to help coordinate, point out the direction of maybe where some of these kids and could maybe practice and stuff, some areas.
And we have open space. Since we're getting close to the time change, you know, they can practice a little later into the evening without actually needing the lights. I think it was a big topic right now around this time of the year, because these are select teams. Yes, they may have Mercedes kids, but it's not 100% Mercedes kids on all these teams, right? So usually with the select team, you'll have, you know, X amount of players from here. You'll have some primos, cousins, whatever, bleed over from other cities that also play with these teams. But since they do play year round, they're usually looking for places to practice closer to home. So when it's not in season, that's why we wanted to establish the fees, right? So that we could make the fields available. But since there is going to be teams coming from out of town, from out of
So,
Mercedes
so
wanting to use
there
it.
is gonna be a fee?
Not for league play.
Not for league play,
League
no.
play, okay.
No.
So fee comes in when?
When the fields are not in season, when there's no organized sports going on out there, and so there
Somebody
shouldn't
wants
really
to-
be practice, somebody
okay.
wants to come have a game, wants to practice, or they want to host a tournament, that's when we would.
So when there's no league play, in other words, then they could come rent,
If they want to, yeah. And if we're not if they're not down for maintenance, right? Because we will be having, you know, a couple weeks in between seasons to just do maintenance, to fertilize and stuff like that.
because I mean, personally, I just feel, I understand both sides of the coin, but I mean, this is Mercedes, it's a small community. There's a lot of times when the kids don't have a lot of places to play, practice, parents. I mean, those parks mean a lot to the community, to the neighborhoods. And I mean, I understand where it's going, what we're trying to do, but at the same time, I feel like we're still Mercedes, we're still a small community, and we're able to do certain things that McAllen and Wesco, certain communities can't. And we still can because we're Mercedes, we're still small. You know, we still have that small hometown feel, and I don't feel like we should be charging our kids or to use and practice those fields. It's always been available, and so that's why I'm kind of torn on this. But I think this is why, like those committees, like a Parks Rec committee and all that, when we have voices, we have people that are in there can voice their concerns, and we gotta figure something out. But
I think it's a
I'm not in
double-edged sword,
agreement
so-
with charging, me personally, for the usage of the fields, even the practice.
So I think the charging part is nominal because we're not affecting our local leagues.
Yeah.
I don't think that was ever the deal.
But after,
thing
but I'm
is-
saying, but once the season,
Yeah,
like in the
so-
summers, like if there's nothing going on, we're gonna have to charge if we want to go. I mean,
But the thing
Well, the
is, you
thing
know,
is that the thing, yeah. So here's the issue. The biggest thing that I hear, excuse my language, is our fields look like crap. I hear it all the time. But what people don't understand is they look like crap because there's somebody on there all the time. And in order for our fields to, we're fixing, and I don't even know if we're supposed to talk about it or not, but we're fixing to spend quite a bit of money to get our fields where our kids deserve.
Yes, sir.
And we can't do that if we just let anybody come into the fields and practice. So you have cities all over the place that everybody says, "Oh man, if you go here, there's a real nice and real nice." And if you go, they're watering them all the time because they're taking care of their fields. In our case, we're taking care of everybody else's players. So our kids are tripping on holes, finding rocks, playing on caliche, or playing on cadillos, because we can't care for our fields. So it's a double-edged sword, man. And I'm not. I felt the same way until I look at the scheduling of how often those fields are used.
But I just
It's
feel like
almost
we
constant.
should have more of the tournaments, and then that money and revenues from those tournaments go back into the fields. But I think you're at some point where we're gonna look at maybe turf fields and things like that. I mean, trying to upgrade. I mean, I know we're trying to upgrade these fields.
Yeah,
Obviously, the lighting and fencing and all this is gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
critical.
And if you look at the back page of attached to the contract, there's a page with a breakdown of some of the repairs that we've already made at the fields and some of the money that has already been spent. And I'll kind of just go over them briefly. So Sam and his guys, which is our parks maintenance supervisor, they've been out there working on the fields like the mayor mentioned. We've got rid of the weeds in the infields. We're working on fixing the irrigation system. We identified 30 total lamp outages. For the cost of the lamps is going to be $1,500 plus the install. We're looking at another $800 to $1,200 on the installs. The guys are currently making repairs to the restrooms, the lavatories. They're painting them, replacing the water fountain out there. That's going to cost us an additional $1,350. We replaced 4 wall pack security lights around the structures, which that was an additional $400 for us. The guys are pressure washing, they're cleaning up out there. We're doing maintenance. We're going to be issuing a PO to purchase the stuff that we're going to be needed to maintenance the fields during the season, which is an additional $2,500. We're purchasing an automated system to get our lights automated so that when the leagues submit their schedules, we're able to plan their schedules so that there's no miss. Hey, the lights didn't come on. We're going to know when the lights are going to be used. That's going to be at an additional $6,500 plus the install. We purchased 4 shade structures for the bleachers at a total cost of $39,000. Plus, we still got to pay for the install. We purchased some additional trash cans and benches that are going to be put out there, and then we're also going to replenish some of the red dirt. So, future repairs, we're looking at. We have quotes already to redo the fields, which they're going to run us roughly $20,000 per field. So, I don't think. In my opinion, I think the money that we're recouping is just a drop in the bucket. The city's, we're going to have to take on a lot of that expense, but I think this is just a way of us showing, hey, that we're committed, to making the fields better.
Tariffs.
We don't have a motion yet, but
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve the facility usage agreement as it's been submitted. And I still have one more quick little thing I want to say.
Can
before we
can I
vote,
ask
Mayor.
that it be approved subject to legal review? Because I did review it, but I don't have it in Word format, so I would like to just give it
Okay.
the last glance over.
Okay,
That's
with
okay.
that caveat, then approved subject to legal review.
Thank you.
I have a motion by Dr. Saldaña. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. Any more discussion?
Well, you mentioned a couple of the changes, but I think just for the sake of the viewing public, there's any number of ways that we can try to recoup a little bit of money. We can charge a flat rate for field use. We can charge per kid. We can charge, and is that going to pay for everything we're doing? Not even going to come close. But we have to have some kind of revenue stream, or we're never going to get ahead of this game and get the fields where they need to be. One of the other changes I read is you just gotta have to pick up after yourself. So that seems pretty reasonable. And there's the scheduling of lights you mentioned, complying with health regulations, the 501c3 you mentioned, and then the prohibiting of the subleasing, and I don't think that's been mentioned yet, and that's an important one to mention as well. So when we lease just to them, whoever that is, and then they can't turn around and sublease. They have to come to the city to do that. I mean, it can be done, but it'd have to have city approval. And so that along with your comments about sort of the money that we're going to pour into those fields to make it a better experience for the kids this year, I think are important parts to this. So thanks for sharing that.
And one more caveat on the subleasing. Again, I like to make sure we explain things so that we don't have to explain it. Well, I still have to explain it anyway, but at the end of the day, when we check to make sure it's all for the protection of the kids.
Right.
If we allow people to sublease and we don't get to see what their situation is, what their insurance is, whether all the kids are covered or not, the liability now falls on the city for not doing their due diligence, and in turn will fall on the organization that's renting it. Because we're not gonna, like they say in TV, right? I'm not going down alone. So it opens up, and so to people who may think it's an innocent thing to say, hey, well, I need to make some money up of because you're charging me whatever $5, I need to make it up too, and to charge somebody else. The loss to both us and to the organization could be a lot greater than what's happening. So all we're trying to do is professionalize this whole thing. And somebody said it perfectly. They said, we've never done this before. Exactly. That's exactly correct. That's why our fields are the way they are. So hopefully, like I said, Lord willing, sometime we're going to see the majority of this. We've seen a lot of it already, right? But
The
we're going to
majority
see
should be before the season.
before the season.
The only thing that we wouldn't be able to get done is the reno of the fields. If we do decide to put that money into the fields and start fixing them, having a contractor come in, they wouldn't be available to the summer, which would work out because once the season gets done, I want to say that the pony usually is going to run probably.
But that's
3
not the
months.
red dirt. That's the
That's the red dirt
redoing,
and
The
everything.
maintenance.
pulling everything up
That's
all over
everything.
again.
Ripping it
Yeah,
all
that's-
out and
So
redoing it.
basically, we'd be getting new fields
Yes, sir.
Right after the season.
right after the season.
Mayor, I have
So,
something.
on one of the,
FYI, in case somebody asked, the money's already been allotted. It's already in the works. They're getting out bids and all that stuff already.
so
I'm sorry, go
in
ahead.
the past, Mayor, I've umpired with both Little League and Pony League. And, those fields do need a significant amount of maintenance. On one of the fields, as a matter of fact, on the Little League side, if you're standing at home plate, the pitcher's mound and second base are off. So, with this, $5, the little fee that we're gonna be charging, to go ahead and upkeep these fields, and possibly upgrade them, more maintenance, I think this is gonna be a great investment for our children.
Real quick, Mayor, something with cohesive with the fields and the contracts. I know we were supposed to potentially get a marketing package together with maybe potential something to offer sponsorship, something to put on the fence, advertisement, things of that nature that can help offset some of these costs. And again, those are revenues coming back into the kids and to those fields.
Well, one thing I do want to reach out to sponsorships is I want to get the scoreboards replaced. I want to replace all 4 scoreboards, electrical and the scoreboards. And I think those would be good opportunities to go after sponsors.
Like for the fans,
Yeah.
at one point where we're doing that, I think going back to that where we put sponsorships on the fence
Yeah.
and
And
all
that's
that.
going to that's part of the contract too, where the
Perfect,
league
yeah.
during their season, they're able to go out for sponsorships for the season. If they want to hang banners and stuff out there, as long as it's done correctly, they do have, they're able to do that with the
I'm
contract.
saying,
the
but
way it
even
works.
if we can get some permanent ones
Oh,
where
yeah.
from the city where it's for so many years, a 3-year deal, a 5-year deal where it's X amount of money, and of course that money's gonna be going back to either getting red dirt or some type of maintenance for the fields and stuff. So
We can look at
maybe we can get some type of package together we can look at.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second, right? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item number
9B.
10B.
10B.
Yep. Approval to select and contract a pony organization for 2025 spring baseball season.
Yes, sir. So, once again, we do have 2 organizations that are interested in operating, pony baseball over at Collier Park on fields 3 and 4. After speaking with Pony, they don't have somebody that they're saying, hey, this is our representative in Mercedes. I was trying to get Pony to kind of give their recommendation to us and say, hey, these are the people that we want to represent us in Mercedes. They weren't willing to do that. They wanted us to bring in, they wanted the city to make the decision on who we were going to get into an agreement with, right? So rather than me just make that decision on my own, that's why we're bringing that to the commission.
So, has anybody got anything before I say anything? I have an issue with, I don't see how Pony League, and I don't know who runs Pony League for this region, or he's from or anything. I know it's a guy because
Mr.
somebody
Banda?
told me, Banda,
Right,
there you go.
Banda's the
That's the
director.
name was told me.
Yeah.
But how can we be the ones not that we won't by the end of the meeting, because if they can't, something's got to happen, right? But I don't understand how we're going to sanction it's my understanding that only one organization can have Pony League per city.
Yes, sir.
So how does us choosing somebody, how do we dictate to Pony League who's going to be their sanctioned team? I mean,
Pony wouldn't vouch for anybody who didn't have a contract for the fields. So since nobody had an agreement with us on the fields, Pony says, we will support whoever you guys give the contract.
so the gunfight at the OK Corral here is somebody's got to flinch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it sounds like to me, because I don't see how check this out. Let's say that we select, and I didn't think of this myself, the good doctor did, but let's say that we select doctor's team, Saldana, to be it. And Pony League decides, no, I don't care for that guy. I'm going to go ahead and do Mondo. Then we just have somebody that they're not sanctioning on the league, or vice versa. That's what I'm having a problem here with. I don't think that should be us. That's more on a technical issue. But I mean, if that's the way they're going to play it, I don't think we have a choice. So how are we?
Again, going back to the existing contract, what it states in the contract is the organizations are supposed to submit a request to the city, basically outlining their elected board officials, submitting a copy of their bylaws, their 501c3, giving a brief description of their organization and what they have to offer to the kids of Mercedes.
Oh yeah, no, I'm very knowledgeable of that part. What I'm saying is that's more like Little League, Pony League, Soccer League.
Yeah.
That is not, hey, choose one of these two Little Leagues or one of these two Pony Leagues and you guys choose. That's not what that's meant for. That's meant so that everybody has a fair shot at using the fields and we can split them up that we were supposed to. This is a whole different story.
So I know
And I've been down, let me tell you, what you're hearing from me right now is I was here for an all-out war between Pony and Pony, and then Pony and Little League. And it was a war, man. It tore us apart. Some of our leagues broke up. Kids left here. They went to other towns to play, all because adults can't get along at the end of the day. So if we care about kids, we wouldn't be playing this game. Seriously. And that's I'm not telling you, because I had to live it. I lived it when I was on that board. Like I told you, they had us there.
We can't
Well,
merge.
Pony had suggested that they work together, and I think they might have facilitated a meeting between the two groups, and I don't think that worked out very well. That's why we're here.
Well, they got to work it out. I mean, I just feel because we choose one, someone's left out, and it's not even about the adults; it's about the kids. Some I'm saying no to someone's kid, and I'm a dad. I got a little guy, and it's kind of like, how do you pick and choose? It's kind of like anything. We gotta work together.
The last
There's
time what
only one
happened here,
Mercedes.
the last time that happened here,
There's only one Mercedes Tigers team. Last time I checked, there's only one high school team. So those kids are gonna be playing together, and I feel like they need to work together, learn to play together, because they're gonna be on a team together.
yeah, I just don't know how. I'm telling you what happened last time. The organizations got into a fight, and half of our kids ended up going to Wesco, and another chunk of them went to La Feria. And at the time, we had an extremely successful, and it's been perennial, successful girls softball team that did very well, because before all that started, we had a huge Little League, Pony League group. And it was broken up by, when my kids were there, they're 30 years old, right? It was like, well, this team plays longer than Little League. Little League plays a little. That was the only difference. And then all of a sudden, this war broke out, and at the end of the day, we lost kids to other towns, and that to me causes problems, because some of those kids ended up staying in those towns, playing there for those teams, because we can't get along. And now I'm assuming we've got two groups here. I'm assuming we've got representatives of the two groups that want to be in the league. Guys, I mean, at the end of the day, we got to do what we got to do here, and we'll let everybody do a presentation here, but a short one, maybe 3-4 minutes. But I'm telling you, nothing good is gonna come out of this. Nothing good. And I'm not getting after y'all. Y'all are adults and you make your decision however you want to. But I'm telling you, think about it. If I tell one group, I'm assuming y'all are separated by chair. So let's say I tell this group yes, or that group no, or this group yes, and this group no. What are you going to do with the kids that can't play? Are you going to sign them up with the team that gets it? Or are you going to take them somewhere else? And there's two sides to this, guys.
Well, why can't we? I mean, we have two representatives. Then why can't we?
Well, we're going to do a
work something out?
presentation, but I already know what the presentation is going to be is you should pick me. What I'm trying to say is that's not going to
can't
be good
merge.
for our kids.
We can't merge.
Well, let's hear what they got to say. Well, let's start. Go ahead. Come on.
Hi, my name is Nora Martinez. I have no problem merging. I just feel like I went to the meeting and there was no elections done as we were there and it was on the agenda. I did do some stuff for them, you know, help them out because I love getting involved with the community. I love helping out the kids. I just feel like they put it out that they already had their president, and I just feel that it's not right since there was no elections. I have no problem merging. I don't. I just want to make sure I get the opportunity as into being able to get voted in, or you know, if somebody voted me in, or have the opportunity to do those things, because I have, like I said, I have no issue merging at all because I love helping out the kids. I want to do whatever I can. Like right now, I am the president of the Little League. And the reason why I still stayed as the president of the Little League is we had our meeting, we put it in the newspaper, nobody came forward to take over the position. So I stayed with it because I don't want to leave those kids out. I know that we're only going to be doing the smaller kids up to coach's pitch, but I also want to get involved with the pony.
Okay. And I guess also, are you here to say that you all want to do your own organization also, or are you talking about?
No, the
merging?
thing is that I did want to do my own organization, but after hearing you speak, right now, I don't have an issue, like I said, merging, but I want to get the opportunity also to be on the board and to be able to speak my mind as well. Because like I said, there was no elections done as of yet. I know that we were supposed to have one the following week. I get a message that Tuesday that it was canceled. Then the following week, it was supposed to be taking place that Wednesday, and I got a message that Tuesday that it was canceled. And then I see in the paper that they had their president, but there was no elections done.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, because I wasn't there.
All right. So normally to have an election, you have to announce 3 days before and all that stuff. So I'm assuming.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I know before we start our league, we have our elections, we choose our board, and then we start doing our registration and going forward. I know it was under my understanding that you can't start registration because we haven't been approved. And I know that supposedly there was registration because I've seen it. But I'm not too sure why that happened or how it happened. But
So the registering of kids don't have anything to do with us.
right.
Ours is sanctioning the use of the fields and sanctioning a group.
Yes.
The registration, I guess anybody can do that, but you're taking a chance that you may not get the fields, right? I think that's the
Right,
issue with that.
Right.
Okay, is there somebody else from your group that wants to speak?
I
Are
don't
you
know.
good?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
So is there somebody from the other group that wants to speak? Thank you, Nora, appreciate it.
Mayor,
How you doing, Reed?
I prepared something and, and I'm going to preface this particular presentation 2 parts. The first, what I'm going to do is there's a timeline I set up, things that we've done collectively as Pony League. And the second part,
Sorry,
sure.
my bad. You need to announce your name.
Huh? Oh, I'm
For
sorry.
the record,
René
I'm sorry.
Guajardo. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm
sometimes,
sorry, brother. Go ahead.
sometimes it goes above me thinking that everybody knows me, but that's not the case, right? And the second part, again, looking at the agreement you guys put together, I went home, I read it, reread it, read it again, and I put a presentation, making sure that we hit some of those things that y'all are actually wanting us to hit as far as an organization is concerned. So, so hopefully in about 3 or 4 minutes, I'll get through with both parts of these things to, to respect your timeline, Mayor. So again, good evening, Mayor Montoya, Mayor Pro Tem, Dr. Saldana, and distinguished commissioners. I am Rene Guajardo, and I stand before you as a representative of the Mercedes Pony League, Baseball and Softball League. I am here to share the significant strides we have made in revitalizing youth baseball and softball in our beloved city, and to seek your continued support in our endeavor. Commitment to youth sports. Our journey began with a steadfast commitment to provide the youth of Mercedes with opportunities to engage in organized sports, fostering not only athletics, but skills of teamwork, discipline, and community spirit. So, in essence, this started December 17th, 2024. Recognizing the importance of initiating structured play, Mr. Felix Rocha personally funded a baseball t-ball team. This generous act was a catalyst setting the foundation for our league's resurgence. In December 18th, 2024, demonstrating an inclusive approach, Mr. Rocha extended his support by funding a softball t-ball team. These initial teams were essential to meet the registration requirements as recommended by league officials, ensuring our league's official status. Now, get into leadership and recognition. Our dedication did not go unnoticed. On January 11, 2025, at the Rio Grande Valley President's Meeting for Pony Baseball and Softball, both Mr. Rocha and myself attended this particular meeting, and we were representing Mercedes. In this assembly, it was officially documented that Mr. Rocha and Mr. Arnold Ramirez were appointed to lead the pony baseball and softball initiatives in Mercedes. Notably, no other individuals were nominated for this responsibility, underscoring the trust and confidence placed in our leadership. Now, community engagement and development. Understanding that a league is only as strong as its communities, we prioritized outreach and development. On January 29th, 2025, we collectively with the attorney Marcos Castillas to meticulously revise our league's constitution and bylaws. These efforts ensures that our governance is transparent, equitable, and aligned with both local and national standards. On February 1st, 2025, we hosted a complimentary clinic for aspiring baseball and softball players. The event attracted over 50 young participants, each eager to learn and grow. To foster a sense of community, we provided hot dogs and drinks at no cost, ensuring an inclusive environment. On February 8th, 2025, building on the momentum, we organized a second free clinic, again welcoming over 50 participants. We were honored to have Mayor Montoya and Mayor Pro Tem Ruben Saldana in attendance, offering words of encouragement to our future Tigers. As with our previous event, we ensured all attendees were well-fed and hydrated at no expense to the others. Ongoing efforts and visions. Our commitment extends beyond these events. We have established ongoing registration days, ensuring that every child in Mercedes has the opportunity to participate. Our vision is to cultivate a robust program that not only hones athletic prowess, but also instills values of leadership, perseverance, and community pride. Now, I'll close this particular part of it by saying, in light of our unwavering dedication, the tangible progress we have achieved, and our alignment with the community's values, we earnestly seek the City Council's support to officially recognize and endorse Mercedes Pony Baseball Softball League under our stewardship. Together, we can provide our youth with the opportunity they deserve and continue to elevate the spirit of Mercedes. Thank you. Now, again, going back to, the agreement y'all just passed just a little while ago, again, contingent upon, legal, looking over it. I took parts of these particular things to actually, piece something together. So if I may, give me another 2 minutes, Mayor. So for nearly 2 decades, Felix Rocha and Arnold Ramirez have dedicated their time, their leadership, and expertise to managing Mercedes Pony Baseball Softball League. Their long-lasting commitment to youth sports, combined with the deep-rooted ties to the Mercedes community, makes them the most qualified candidates to lease and manage the Mercedes baseball fields. Again, and I say that because we have to make an argument according to the agreement that was passed, and that's why I'm making this particular argument. Under their leadership, the league has fostered a strong sense of teamwork, discipline, and community engagement. This proposal outlines why awarding them the lease aligns with the City of Mercedes' goals of maximizing field use, ensuring responsible management, and providing opportunities for all who wish to play. Experience and leadership. Felix Rocha and Arnold Ramirez bring unparalleled experience in organizing, managing, and growing youth baseball and softball programs. Over the past 2 decades, they have successfully, 1, managed league operations, ensuring smooth scheduling, fair play, and adherence to national baseball and softball guidelines. 2, established relationships with local schools, businesses, and community leaders to foster financial support and player development. 3, developed youth athletes who have gone on to play at high school and collegiate levels. Maintain a transparent and inclusive environment where all players, regardless of background, have had the opportunity to participate in competitive and development leagues. Their extensive experience ensures that they can efficiently manage the fields, provide structured play schedules, and create a safe and well-maintained environment for players and spectators alike. Field utilization and maximization of play. The Mercedes Pony Baseball Softball League is committed to making the fields accessible to as many players as possible. To meet the city's Mercedes goal of maximizing field use, the league proposes the following: league play, regular seasonal schedules that include weekday and weekend games for all age groups, tournaments, hosting local and Rio Grande Valley tournaments, bringing economic benefits to Mercedes while showcasing local talent. Now, I don't know if that bill means that my time is up, but I'm almost done.
Just finish it up.
Community access, ensuring that players from all backgrounds have an opportunity to participate by offering incentives for low-income families. Concessions and the management of the concessions, running a fully functional concession stand that adheres to the city health regulations, generating additional funds to support field maintenance and equipment needs. A comprehensive season schedule that will provide, as per Section 9 of the agreement, ensuring that the play schedules are available for review and approval in a timely manner. Maintenance and compliance. Felix Rocha and Arnold Ramirez understand the importance of keeping the fields in excellent condition. They propose a strict maintenance protocol that aligns with Section 5 and 6 of the lease agreement, including conducting pre- and post-season walkthroughs with city staff to identify safety concerns, ensuring all debris is cleaned up after every game to maintain a welcoming environment, watering the infields after games to prevent erosion and maintain optimal playing conditions, preventing unauthorized access and improper use of field facilities to protect city resources. The league will work closely with the City of Mercedes to ensure proper use of field lights, scheduling lights only for official games as outlined in Section 5. Insurance and financial responsibility. As per Section 8, the Mercedes Pony Baseball Softball League will maintain the required 501c3 that y'all are requiring, the nonprofit status, and provide all necessary insurance documentation. And it will be provided to the city and to the commission.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'm sorry, if I may, I would like to review the agreement because it was, approved subject to legal review, and so I don't want to mislead anybody that's presenting tonight. I would like to be able to review it and
He mentioned
Mar-
that.
finalize that.
Marty,
He's aware.
Marty, would it be okay if I made a motion to discuss and for them to bring back a remedy, recommendation and then they come back to us? Would that be okay?
Yes, and subject to the completion of the agreement.
Okay.
What
You
is the
know,
timeline for
what-
the?
Well, and you know what, and as a matter of fact, as I spoke to the city manager, I told him, and, you know, that time was of the essence
time's
because
of
it's
the
right around the
essence. No.
corner.
Yes, and I'd like to get this
It's-
settled tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just one of these things that we need to move forward. I mean, and again, whether it's us or whether it's Ms. Nora right here, I mean, we just need to make a decision so that way we can move forward and do the things that we need to do to, you know,
No, no, I think you made it clear, and we'll make sure we'll get with the attorney. So you go ahead and finish.
Yeah,
and we
let me
can-
just finish. And
we'll make
again,
sure.
I mean, just so that way, because I did, you know, I did look over the agreement and I am touching on all these, and that's why I wrote these things out. So that way, again, just to show the commission that, you know, that we are taking, you know, a serious look at this and we want an opportunity to, you know, to put our name in there. we d-
Excuse me,
Sure.
Mr. Wilder, and you wouldn't be up to par potentially merging?
Well, I think-
leagues?
Well,
Let's
the
let him
thing-
finish. Go ahead
Well,
and finish
let
your
me finish and
presentation.
then I can
and
come
then
back
we'll-
to your
we'll come
question
back
if
to
that's okay, Jacob. Maintaining liability insurance, as you all proposed, the 250,000 per registered player, paying the $5 pre-registered player prior to the start of the season, covering costs for non-sanctioned tournaments as required by the agreement. These financial commitments demonstrate the league's ability to be responsibly manage the baseball fields without burning city resources. Commitment to community and growth beyond fulfilling the lease agreement's requirement. Felix Rocha and Arnold Ramirez are deeply invested in the long-term success of baseball and softball in Mercedes. Their vision includes youth development programs, and I think this is key. Expanding training camps and coaching clinics to develop young athletes. And you know what? And I've touched base with some coaches, and we're gonna put things together so that way, come late April, you know, we're gonna have clinics of that sort to improve, you know, to improve what we're doing, what we go out, what we see, and where we see that we're lagging behind. You know, I think that we have the expertise to say, hey, you know what, this is what we want to touch on. For example, I mean, you know, if we see first and third, that we need to work on first and third defenses, or if we need to work on bunt defenses, or we have to work on, I mean, we're gonna be able to dictate to these coaches, this is what we want. Come in, you know, teach these kids, you know, and coaches these particular things. So, inclusive participation, creating partnerships with schools to introduce baseball to students who may not otherwise have access. Community engagement, hosting events that bring families together, strengthening Mercedes' sense of community. Through their leadership, the baseball fields will not just be a venue for games. They will be a hub for community engagement and youth empowerment. So in closing, I want to say the city of Mercedes has a responsibility to ensure that its baseball fields are maximized, maintained, and used responsibly. Rocha and Ramirez, with nearly 2 decades of experience managing the Mercedes Pony League and Softball League, are the ideal candidates to lease and oversee these fields. Their proven leadership, commitment to community engagement, financial responsibility, and adherence to all these lease agreements make them the best choice to carry forward the vision of making baseball accessible to as many young athletes as possible. We respectfully request the City Commission award us the lease agreement for the baseball fields, ensuring continued excellence and opportunities for the youth of Mercedes. And again, I'm making that particular argument because of the agreement that was just passed. I mean, you know,
I mean, with all due respect, Rini, to both parties, look, there's no doubt in my mind you guys got some top-notch guys. You know, I know one of Dad's favorite players was Arnold. He always talked about him. I know he's a great guy. He's had some great daughters, real athletic. They did great, you know, very athletic. and he's a great individual, and obviously he's good at coaching youth sports and being a role model, and he's been involved in the community and of youth sports, and of course coaches as well. And there's no doubt that, like, the league is focused on developing kids and doing good for the community, and it hurts because it's like, I don't want to leave anybody out. I know Nora's. I mean, I my kids in Little League, and even though she's helping with the Pony League, that's one of the hardest working ladies that you will find, day and night. I mean, concession stands, T-shirts. I mean, on the fields. I mean, you name it. And I wish we could work something out and merge, because, like, my point of view, in the end of the day, when we look at Mercedes Tigers, I feel some of what's hurting baseball is, in my personal view, is there's a separation there, and kids are going somewhere else and playing. We're not playing together. When we have the talent, there's no doubt. I feel like we have the talent, because look at in the other, football, we can get them track. I mean, look at other sports. If we can, where there's only one Mercedes Tigers, the kids have to learn to play together. You know, that's my argument. And I know we're on a timetable, and we got to choose. Mayor wants to choose someone tonight, and I'm going to respect that. And it's going to be tough. I just wish that we could just kind of come back and you guys discuss and bring something here to the table. But if that's not an option, and you all want something tonight, then, you know, then I guess, I mean, this was what's gonna have to be, I guess.
Anybody else? So I'd like to entertain a motion if if y'all are ready. Ms. Nora, I know he had a much longer.
I had already had a motion,
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
I guess we'll just have to, in
Yeah,
normal seconds, if it's gonna
nobody
die out.
seconded it,
Okay.
yes. So, do you want to say one last thing before we do this?
Yes, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you. I just thought I was asked that question. That's why I didn't speak very much. I just want to say that I know I did have a little bit of contribution with them. I mean, I did distribute all the 100 flyers to the schools, to each school, me and my friend here, to get that camp going as well, you know, to help them out. I also, like I said, I'm also on the board with the softball at the high school. I organized the Madness event. I put in a lot of my time, a lot of my effort into these kids. I know there's varsity, there's sub-varsity, but to me, I put them all as one. And like I mentioned before, I don't mind, you know, merging with them, but like I said, I just feel like there was no elections done the proper way. And I have no problem or issue with the contract either, because I did go over the contract as well. And I just do want everything for the children, because I did do a lot also for the Little League this year. I gave out medals for MVP players. This was our first time doing it this past year, for every single game. I also we organized the end of the season event. I love to get involved with the kids. And like I said, I don't mind, you know, able to talk to Mr. Guajardo. I just feel like, I just think that you know, to be as one, instead of, because it's like you said, there's only one Tigers, there's only one Pony League, there's only one Little League, and there's no reason to divide them, because they will go to other cities.
Mr. Guajardo, is there a place for potential another officer position, so those kids could, or
I
that?
don't think they've had elections yet.
Let me just say this. I have nothing against Nora. I mean, you know, I mean, nothing against Nora. Don't think that, you know,
Really,
that
I
I'm
want to say,
here.
you do,
that
I
I'm here.
forgot to
But-
include, you do a great job also, and I forgot to mention Felix does a great job as well.
Yeah,
Sorry
well,
about
I
that.
mean, you know, but I will say that, you know, the first time that that we were gonna have elections, and the reason that we didn't have elections, and maybe I didn't express myself the right way on that particular evening, but the fact of the matter is that we didn't have elections because, you know what, I needed to make sure that somebody, like I explained in this thing, oversaw, you know, the bylaws. So we hired an attorney, and Mr. Marcos came and looked at our bylaws because again, I didn't want to do thing unlawful or illegal. I wanted to make sure that we passed. I mean, we got this thing going. We wanted to make sure. So that's why we couldn't put the carriage before the horse. We couldn't have elections. I said, wait, hold on. We haven't taken a look at the bylaws and let an attorney look at them to make sure that they're up and that they're good. And there was a little bit of revisions to those particular bylaws. So I'm glad that we took those particular steps to make sure that those bylaws were taken care of before we brought them forth, before we had any sort of elections.
So if I can, and I'm gonna call for the vote because we've been here a long time on this thing, as important as it is. But I just want to say that I think that the simplest thing here is, and it's obviously from the presentation, you guys are ahead of the game, and I'm not trying to convince anybody on the coaching side, and you're obviously a heavy hitter as it comes to getting information out. I think you guys would make a fantastic team, to be honest with you, for our kids. I'm like I said, I'm going to call for a vote, but my request is that whoever gets this, that everybody comes together, and maybe when this dust settles, maybe we can have elections, if that's what you're saying, right? It just kind of sounds like I think we have to have elected officers anyway.
Say one thing.
Yeah, and this will be it. We'll just finish it off with that.
I agree with you on that, right? So definitely, it's really, we want to do what's in the best interest of the kids. But the way the organizations are structured and set up in their bylaws, it states that they do have to have elections, like Ms. Nora is saying. So I would agree with you, whoever we do decide to get in the contract, that we do just push that they follow their bylaws.
So after this vote, what we're gonna say is, and it's gotta be a stipulation in there, guys, is we have to have elections. There's gonna have to be an election. Now, how you all send it out and all that stuff, we'll leave you all to your word, right? We're all ladies and gentlemen here.
Can we do a ballot
And,
at the
we'll
HEB
do
Park
that.
and that is?
So anyway, I'd like to call
Jocelyn,
for a
can
vote.
we rent the machines from Dago County?
I have a comment and then a
But-
motion.
but-
I call them growing pains. I don't know what else to call, to how to describe all of this, but we had an agreement that's about 98% the same as this one right here. I don't know how many years it had been since that agreement had come before the commission or to the city for a signature. I mean, we've been just kind of,
Nobody wanted to choose.
and we just kind of and that's horrible management in my opinion. So it's an annual contract that ran years and years and years with no follow-up, no accountability, no nothing. And that's just not a good way to do business in my opinion. So this is an annual contract, and we'll revisit it every year. If we want to do it right, we'll have a chance to change it up. It's a learning year. Maybe we come back and we want to restructure some of the way that the fees might work, or some of the other kinds of things that each party might be willing to do. But at the end of the day, much like y'all have told us, we're both have the very same goal in mind. The only way is, can we find a way to get there without tripping over each other and landing on top of the kids? We had a very good meeting with Mr. Guajardo and with Mr. Ramirez, and we got a lot of wrinkles ironed out, I think. But I have no doubt that anybody of anybody's true intentions in this room to want to do good. Our desire is to create something that gives you the ability to do that, and gives everybody the tools to get so that they have nice fields to work on, good city staff to cooperate with, which we have, and a little bit of good faith, like I always say, goes a long way. So with that, Mayor, and this, I don't wish any we got to pick somebody, and my motion would be to select Mr. Guajardo, but to proceed with the Pony League contract for the city this year, and and with your encouragement that they work together with everybody that has a vested interest in that. Because if I'm you, I want her helping me. Now, that's just me, because as many arms and legs as you have out there, I don't know why you'd want to turn anyone away. But that's my motion.
Motion by Commissioner Saldana.
I'll
Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Garcia. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Well, maybe it's too late for that, but my intention was for that, for that also to be subject to them complying with all of the,
And legal review.
yeah, and legal review and all of that.
Mayor,
yes.
can I just say that, and probably Mr. Viella can attest to this, but we will go ahead and we will purchase a 501(c), but it's not gonna get here next month or in 2
No,
months.
we
It's
understand.
gonna take some time, so.
Yes.
And
We
you can
understand.
And you
probably
all
speak
don't
on
have
that
one
behalf.
already?
No, the reason we have the paperwork ready, but we were waiting for this
Yeah.
before we had to submit it, but like he mentioned, it does take a while to come in.
We'll work with you.
Yes.
All right.
Justin, on my motions, you got that recorded, right? Okay.
All right.
I want you guys
So,
to work together, but
Oh, no,
Like I said-
so at the end of the
Figure
day,
something out. We'll
let me
work
tell you
together.
all something. I'm almost,
Great-
well,
great group.
I am sorry, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry that what I said at the very beginning, but I've got to tell you that this ended up a whole lot different than what I expected. And that's because of the two personalities that were up here. Thank you both very much for that.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody remembers how it was back then. You can ask your brother Bob, but it was a free-for-all war. And I gotta hand it to y'all.
they've
Y'all did a
handled,
fantastic job. So,
exactly,
thank you
Mayor.
very
They've
much.
handled themselves
Nothing
professional.
Against each other.
I understand
We
that.
will work
mean,
with
hey,
one another.
Y'all deserve the way y'all have handled this professionally.
And just because it's been like that in the past does not mean that's the way it needs to be in the future.
Yeah. Well, and Mayor, I do want to say, on the record that, that I appreciate, our city manager and Dr. Saldana, and Mr. Viella for meeting with us and, they gave us the time and we understood exactly what they were asking for. And then when finally, saw this particular, item on the agenda, read it and reread it and read it again. And that's why I was trying to make the points that I made, because you know what, we sat here and y'all gave us the time. Now, we felt better going out. Okay, this is what they want. And all we can do is, is try to agree with that agreement. I mean, that's on here and that's what we're gonna try to do. Make sure that we dot our i's and cross our t's in all that we do.
Well, may
Again,
the,
thank y'all so much.
may the Lord bless you all, and thank you, and you all have a great
guys.
season.
Bless you.
God bless you guys.
Thank you.
And go Tigers.
Alright, that was 10. Moving on to item 11 for the monthly departmental reports.
No question.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, Captain
Safe travels.
Saldana, he's left on purpose. No questions. No questions. Doc. Se va a enojar, we're gonna bring it back. Doc.
You gonna rush you?
Bueno, todo that, move on. All right, moving on. Item 12, executive session. I have chapter 551, Texas Government Code, section 551.071, consultation with attorney. Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. Section 551.074, personnel matters. And section 551.087, economic development. Do I have a motion to go into executive?
Make a motion?
A motion by Commissioner Garcia. Do I have a second?
Second, I make
Second by
a motion
Dr. Howell.
for
All those in
adjournment.
favor say aye. Motion carries. We are in executive. It is 7:50 PM. Right? All right, it is 8:40 PM. I call the meeting back into open session. I believe we have no actions, right?
I don't believe we do.
Yeah, I don't believe we have any actions, so I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion by Commissioner Garcia. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Commissioner Dr. Saldana. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries at 8:40 PM. We are adjourned.